This morning, what we're going to be talking about is a therapy practice versus a coaching business. And can you have both? Like, what's the deal? Can you have both? And I'm going to share this right over into one of my groups. So let me ask you, how many of you have had the idea that, oh my God, I 100% want to be able to have the type of business where I can help whomever I want, wherever that they live in the world, and to be able to do so and not have any worries, right? So isn't that part of it? Not to have any worries about, there we go, our entire, practice. What are we going to do with our entire practice? So, I'm Mary Bicknell. If you haven't met me, I'm a clinical social worker, a very successful regret-proof life coach, and I also teach and work with mental health and wellness professionals who want to have a successful business. And whether that is with coaching or in their private practice, really helping them expand. And what does expansion look like? You know what it looks like? It looks like you being able to do the very thing that you want to do with your ideal clients. That's the point here. When you have a business, the goal is, number one, is that you are doing work that you really love. Because if you're watching this, probably you are someone who likes to help people. Can I get an amen? How about a couple thumbs up? Are you somebody who really wants to help people? You want to have a big impact. So number one, helper. Number two, you probably want to have some kind of freedom in your life, right? Maybe time freedom, money freedom. And the truth is, friend, that if you don't make enough money, it's going to be hard to buy yourself some time freedom. Doesn't that make sense? Right? Doesn't that make sense? And finally, thank you. Yeah, there's some loving. Finally, to be able to actually call the shots. How many of you have had a job? How many of you have had, are realizing maybe you are currently in private practice. You currently have your own mental health practice or speech practice, pathologist or chiropractic, whatever it is. You're bound by a license. You are bound by a regulation. Now look, I know that I get a lot of pushback. I get a lot of pushback from people who say, Mary, coaching is an unregulated field. So what that means is everyone's running amok, going crazy, twisting people's arms, taking people's money. And I am a professional licensed person and I have higher ethics. I have higher standards. I totally disagree with this. And part of the reason I completely disagree with this is I know because I was a therapist for years. As a clinical social worker, I worked in hospitals. I had my own private practice. I worked in managed care, home health. I was a behavioral trainer for more than 25 different nursing homes across the Baltimore area in Maryland. Okay, girl, I've seen some stuff. So to have this idea that somehow being regulated within our state equals higher ethics is not reality. It's not reality. Now, I have the highest ethics because I'm teaching you, right, how to have these businesses. So my goal is to have a greater impact. So while it's true that coaching does not have a regulated body governing it at this time. And I don't know that it's ever going to be able to do that. I mean, people call themselves life coaches and all this. That's not the conversation today. But the truth is there's unethical people in every industry. So let's just start with that as a reality. One of the things I've said, and I get a lot of about it, a little bit of pushback, a little bit of Mary, is I personally have issues around the insurance industry, having been on both sides of it, doing managed care and, seeking to get reimbursed with insurance. And I have found what I believe personally is unethical are therapists or anyone who is billing health insurance of any type, whatever you're pushing, sister, is physical therapy, mental health, whatever, wellness. You're a dietitian, a chiropractor. You're in the mental health. and wellness profession. And if you are diagnosing someone, if you are labeling someone so that you can bill, I believe that's unethical. I believe that's unethical. We give people these broad labels that follow them for life. And that is actually one of the very interesting facts about coaching, is because I'm not diagnosing anyone anymore. I'm not labeling them. And there's a stigma around mental health that when we go to a therapist, that we're given this label. Now, look, I am not saying that there isn't a huge need for everything that's in mental health or in a label or in a licensure body. That's not my point at all. Please believe me. I worked with the chronically mentally ill. And I mean psychotic, schizophrenic, every kind of cognitive disorder. So I truly believe in the field of mental health. I believe in regulated bodies. What I don't support is when someone who is coming to a therapist or some type of wellness practitioner and they are coming and they're functional and they're really not meeting diagnostic criteria, that's where I have an issue as far as the ethics. So the point here is there's plenty of people who are seeking out coaching because what they want is they don't want therapy. They don't want an old medical model. They don't want that. They don't want to go to the therapist and sit there and go through a historically, common methodology that happens within the medical or private practice arena. So coaching is different. So if you have any questions, good morning, Erin. I'm so glad. Yay. I'm glad that you're here. Emily, quality of service varies by person, not profession. Great. Hey, Leslie. And I have an answer for you, Leslie, later. So please feel free to ask me any questions in here. This is your moment. There are places of overdiagnosing. Right, Emily? Right. It's very frustrating and upsetting to know that there's people that are having these labels. So here's my little digression slide note, right? It's like when we are I got chills from this, right? When we're labeling people, we are reinforcing that on a neural pathway, right? In our neural pathway. So when we are saying you're depressed, you are so anxious, when we are labeling people, that's that, and we know this. Some people just hold on to that. It'd be no different than when we're saying to our kid, you're stupid. It's a label. I don't follow that model, right? I'm very much on self-actualization, empowerment, support. You get to decide who you are. You get to decide what you're going to say about yourself. Okay, so that's that piece of this puzzle, right? Can you have therapy versus a therapy practice, whatever therapy that looks like for you, or whatever kind of licensed practice that versus a coaching business. So the first piece of the puzzle is the ethics of diagnosing. The second piece of the puzzle here is, well, first of all, let me just say, yes, I work with plenty. Some of my most successful clients, thanks for the love. Some of my most successful clients, they have both. They straddle this, right? They have a private practice and they are building a coaching business as a complementary additional revenue stream. So see, the great thing about the coaching industry is because we are able to have a global impact. This is so exciting, you guys. Let's take a breath for a minute. Right now, there has never been a better time for you to have the impact that you want, for you to build the business that you want. There has never been a greater time for women in the world to have everything, to show up fully, to fully embrace your power. We have all the technology that we need. We can reach people in every corner of the world. I have people following me and clients literally all over the world. And look, this girl who went to school to become a social worker and who at the time was working when I was going to school, I worked in the city, in the inner city in Baltimore, helping lots of people who, I've worked with every population of people, but to be able to have the kind of reach and global impact that I have today. So right now, for those of you who are getting you're having a little mindset problem here, you're having a little think idea here, or you're freaking out a little bit because I'm saying global impact, I want you to reconnect with why you became a helper, why you chose the mental health and wellness profession. You chose that because you want to help people. And when you build a bigger business, specifically, if you build a big coaching business, you have the ability to have more impact. You have the ability. So if you're in this space right now, that's like, I only want to help poor people, or we should not, Mary, you're a social worker. You shouldn't be talking about making a lot of money. You have it backward. I talk about making money, whether I'm helping you build your private practice. Let's get that running. Let's get that generating a good solid 6 figures. Boom, boom, boom. Then you can pivot and add an additional revenue stream with coaching. Boom, boom. Like, this is what I do with people, and it's so cool. I had one of my clients who just increased her private practice rate from $100 to $200. Right? $200. So this is what she also does with her coaching business. So she has multiple revenue streams. I have another client who has a center. She has a mental health center, a therapy center, where she has different types of practitioners in it, which, by the way, is what I wanted to do in grad school, but whatever. And so now she has multiple revenue streams because she has some freedom, because she owns her own company where she has mental health and she has coaching. Like, do you get, listen to this. I have another client. She's getting ready to move out of state. So remember this. She was practicing within a state under her license. She's moving out of state. Even though she's keeping her license in the state that she's moving from, she cannot help her client base, her mental health client base anymore. See, part of this is that with the technology that we have today, why coaching and developing a coaching business is so fantastic is not only can we reach people, but the model is broken. If I move from Oregon to Washington State, and I have built a mental health practice here in the state of Oregon under my clinical license, and I move, no longer can I help these people. No longer, because I'm now living outside of my state-governed licensure body. How is that helpful to help people, right? Not to mention my patients or my mental health clients, but like the person, like me, if I want to move, I've built this entire private practice up. So it's solid. I have clients like, hey, maybe I have a group practice. And now if I want to move as just a human being, I can't, I'm stuck in a way, because now I'd have to start somewhere new. I might be able to get reciprocity for licensure, so I won't have to sit for the exam again. But oh my God, I have to start my practice up in Washington, or I want to move to Florida, or whatever. It's in my opinion, it's a broken model. So coaching bridges this gap. It bridges this gap. And maybe these are some of the things that you've already thought about as a private practice owner or somebody going into private practice. So if you've not started your private practice yet, because I do get this question a lot, should I go for my license? Should I build a therapy practice first? First of all, I'm not going to say don't go for your license. I understand that we all are hanging on to all our degrees and all our certifications and all the letters behind our name because they have value to us. But what I want you to recognize is that's a label, just like I said at the top of this call. So if you haven't listened, go back. At the end of this call, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a resource that's going to help you figure out where you might be bumping up against some stuff I'm talking about, where your thinking for expansion is bumping up. Okay? So let's get back to the ethics here. The ethics. Can you own a private practice and have a coaching business? So the biggest determiner for you to be able to do this is making sure that the body of people, the populations of people, are not the same. Not the same. In other words, if you want to help people with anxiety, whatever that looks like to you, right? If it's diagnostic, or, the truth is some of us get anxious just because, life stressors. You're moving, your mom dies, your dog dies. When my cat died, I was really suffering. but I don't believe I fell into the diagnostic criteria for an anxiety disorder. But that doesn't mean I don't need help, but I don't want to go and get diagnosed. So we want to be conscious of what the populations are that we're working with. That's number one. Because the ethical line for me, and this is what I teach my client, if somebody comes to me and I can see that they fall into the diagnostic criteria, I personally do not work with them at first. I don't. Now, there are coaches out there that do, because they're like, well, they're seeing their therapist and we're working on life coaching stuff. I personally don't, because I maintain my clinical license. So I do not work with people who have a clear diagnostic, a diagnosis. Now, saying that, here's the big piece of the puzzle. Pay attention if you're spacing out right now. My marketing is extremely clear on who I work with in my life coaching business. It's very clear. I work with women, typically they're 30 and over, or maybe they're a little older, like late 30s. And they're in this place of like, I'm 39, I'm 46, oh my God, I'm 54, I'm 60, and I'm stuck. I thought I was going to be further ahead than I am. I can't believe that where I am in my life. I thought I was going to know more. I feel imposter syndrome. I feel like a fraud sometimes when I'm trying to go for something. I've had, grit. I've had life happen. And I've lost my confidence, Mary. Help me get it back. How do I reconnect with that powerful woman I know I am inside, but God, she just kind of disappeared somewhere. That's my life coaching business. So it's very clear. So let me tell you the ethical piece here. If you're going to do both, number one, again, is you're not serving the same type of client. They can be complementary. So let's give you an example. Maybe you work with, this is a very clear, concrete example. Thanks for the love. Maybe you work with kids who are diagnosed somewhere on the spectrum. Okay? And that's your therapy practice. And you don't at all work with their parents, right? It's just the kid. So a piece of the puzzle that you could have, like you could run a coaching group, right? You could do a group for parents who have kids on the spectrum, like how to navigate that. So this is not mental health. This would be classic life coaching for parents of kids on the spectrum. So you might develop a group program where you're actually teaching some different types of skills, whether that's a schedule, whether that's like those of you who are out there that do this, like you can label a bunch of, list a bunch of stuff. Thanks for the hearts. I know you're getting this. Let me give you another one. And this goes back to labeling people. Oh my God, right? So saying that, I just have to side note, I am a big believer in you better have those parents in something and not label that damn kid. Okay, that's just my personal bent on that. So many times I see marketing that looks like this. This is not good. Ready? I saw this the other day. It was like somebody's like, I work with frustrated parents who are working with the most challenging children. Like, shit. Like, let's not label the children. Right? You can if they truly have a diagnosis, I get it. But the goal here is to elevate the thinking with your coaching. The goal in coaching is to support people up leveling and being at their highest, like taking their functionality that they have now, because that's what we're doing with clients that we're working with. They have high functionality, and we are like, wow, like the transformations that my clients have, and especially also my business, my therapist to coach, transitioning to coaching, those clients going from that medical model, that restrictive model, to becoming a coach and having the kind of coaching business they want, their minds are blown because they just see the possibilities in such a different way. I am an expert, by the way. I'll claim it. I'm an expert at helping you shift from your institutionalized, limiting, I'm an employee, this is how much we make in the therapy world. I am an expert at helping you shift out of that, busting free, so that you can own what you have to offer, teach you how to value the solution that you have to offer. That's what I'm an expert at, and that's what I know I can help you with. So if you're interested in that, I'm going to be sharing something at the end. So The ethical piece of it, is your marketing. Like I said, I never have people with mental health disorders. I never have people with mental health disorders come to me for life coaching. It's because I'm so very clear. I never use psychobabble. I never use psycho-speak in my marketing. Never. Like, I say never, and now I gotta be really like, do I ever? No, I don't use it. We default so heavily in our psychobabble language. And I'm saying babble just to like tongue in cheek it, but it's so easy for us, right? When I transitioned into coaching, it took me a while to let go of my like psycho vocabulary. My, coping skills and, Beck, scale and like all of this language that we adopt and we learn from years of being in the mental health and wellness industry, years of working in hospitals, like discharge plan, intake formula, like all of this, like it took a while to transition into that. So that's why if you look at my website or you hear anything that I talk about with mindset, I'm talking about mindset. I'm talking about thinking. I'm talking about up-leveling. I'm talking about personal growth. I'm talking about like make money. I'm talking about money mindset, success thinking. This is the language of the coaching world. Right? This is the language. Now saying that, I'm not saying that if you work with, you want to do, I just talked to somebody the other day and she wants to work with, perinatal women, right? So of course there's some of that language, but like that whole transition, how to transition, being pregnant, how to transition into being a mom. God, remember that, you guys, for those of you who are moms? How long it took to even just get all the stuff to take in the car just to go to Target. I mean, there's like how to navigate that. And she wants to coach people on like how to navigate this thing, this transition, this beautiful, amazing life transition that for some women can just hit them because, that's just, they need some support, but we're not diagnosing them as, postpartum. We're not diagnosing, or say the difference. So back to, in summary, yes, you can have a private practice and a coaching business. They have to be very clear, different populations of people. Why? Because when you're trying to do the same population of people, your marketing is unclear. That's an ethical problem. How are you going to market to the same population of people? And because you get paid insurance if you diagnose some people, but you want to help these other people. So fine, help those other people. Don't call it coaching, call it private pay. One of the very first things I like to teach my clients when they're in transition is to get off insurance, get to private pay. It makes the leap to coaching for some of them easier, FYI. So how is your marketing? What's the language that you're using in your marketing? Are they complementary? If you have private practice people, is your coaching a complement so that it's a logical transition? It makes sense. It makes sense, right? This is why it also needs to make sense. If you are like, I hear this all the time. Okay, so this is where it gets to niching. So I'm going to do another video very clear on this, but let me give you the down and the simple. When we think about niching, some of you who are transitioning from private practice into coaching, or maybe from a job into coaching, you're like, I don't know my exact niche. That's okay. The top 3 coaching titles are life coach, wellness coach, and relationship coach. So you can start with it broader and then start getting some coaching clients. This is one of the things I teach in Transition to Coaching, the Foundations course. It's a course that's 100% money back guarantee. It's $1,500 if you pay it in full. You can Netflix all the videos. It teaches you exactly how to have your very first package to sell at $1,500. So your very first one, you get your money back by selling that, right? And it gives you the done for you outline, done for you coaching session, all the best coaching questions. It helps you establish the foundation of your business. And most importantly, it helps you get out of like, I'm an employee, I'm a therapist, this is how much money I can make mentality, which is major. Let me go and read these questions now. I'm going to also leave the link for you. There's 2 things that are coming up that you need to be aware of. So we have a couple spots open for our mastermind, our Big Bold Biz $150,000, $150K mastermind. So if you are committed to making $150,000 or more as one revenue stream, either in your private practice and now you want to add $150K to your coaching business, then you need to private message me or email me at mary@marybicknell.com. It's a 1-year program. It's a third. This group program, this mastermind, is a third of the normal investment you would do if you worked on me with one-on-one. Really good. And for some of you who are just like, oh, I just want to stick my toe in the water and find out a little bit more about this coaching thing, and you want to get a concept of it, and you want to have like solid foundations. The Transition to Coaching Foundations course is the thing you need. It's everything that you need. Everything. I guarantee it, that you need right now to get started coaching. To build foundations, I give you contracts, agreements, what to say, how to say it, how to plan, what the systems are, how to enroll clients. Like, it is literally a business, a how-to coaching business in a box. Like, literally, I should market it like that, you know? It's $1,500 and you learn how to make your very first, have your very first client. So let me go ahead and answer some of these questions, and I will put the links in here. And then I will also share with you, let me see, hey Heather, how are you? Nice to meet you. Hi. You need to refer out coaching, otherwise you have a dual relationship with, oh yes, I am not at all saying, exactly, she's correct. Yes, we don't see the same client. This is not, let me be very clear. We are not coaching under one umbrella, something, and then therapy. We are not seeing the same client for therapy and coaching. Definitely not. That is correct, 100%. Just because you don't diagnose does not mean you're not crossing lines. So, Heather, this is one of the things. You know, it's like, you have to decide your ethical line, right? I could call my clinical board and ask them what the ethical line is. And I'm not saying that we're taking on clients. And of course, right? So to her point, she's basically, and I get this a lot from people, right? Who are like, just because you're not giving a diagnosis doesn't mean that person doesn't need it. Well, I don't. I have an ethical line. This goes back to the conversation at the top of this call about how many clinicians are diagnosing people who don't need a diagnosis. They should not have a diagnosis, but they give a diagnosis so you can get paid by insurance. I believe that is a big ethical dilemma that is being crossed all the time. I don't ever take a client on who falls into any diagnostic criteria. And I teach that with my clients, and they don't either. So I'm solid, Heather, with that. The state defines the lines. Oh, okay. So she's saying, thank you for clarity. The state defines the lines. Well, sure. Your licensure, if you're going to be practicing in your business as a practitioner in your state, yes, the state defines the lines, but not when I'm coaching. You call your own coaching board, and this is what I teach every one of my clients. You call your own licensing board. My board, there is nothing about me practicing as a life coach. There's nothing. Emily says, I know insurance has a lot of guidelines. Yes. So you need to also check with your insurance. Do you have your malpractice insurance? There is a life coaching malpractice insurance. But look, everybody, this is the thing. I agree with you that there are a lot of questions. You need to investigate your own boards. You need to do the own due diligence. I am definitely not on here as your attorney or as your licensing board. What I am here to tell you is that you can have both, but you want to obviously investigate under your own state. I can't answer every state or every country has their own regulations. What I know to be true are my clients investigate that. And those of them that have investigated, there is no competition issue. So you have to investigate that for yourself. I know something and withhold that support. Isn't that if I know something and withhold that support, isn't that unethical? I don't know what you mean by if I know something and withhold that support. Why would you withhold support? Like, why would we ever do that? If you come across something in your coaching and somebody comes up with some type of mental health concern that you have, of course you have a duty to refer them. Of course you have a duty to refer them. I work with the same population in both. That's a concern that I would have for now. I would not do that at all. Something that could help somebody. Of course. So Emily, I don't even know why you're asking me the question, would I refer someone? Of course I would refer somebody if they needed support. Why would that ever be a question? So you know an attorney that specializes in these issues. Great. There's plenty of coaching pitfalls and there's plenty of therapy pitfalls. So this conversation today is about you making the decision where you fall in private practice versus coaching, and that you can have both. And what are some of the benefits to each? This is for each one of you to make a decision on what are the benefits to you. So for me, I don't practice as a psychotherapist anymore. Why? Because the main reason I became a coach is because I recognized that the type of client that I wanted to work with is not falling into a diagnostic criteria. I no longer wanted to work in the mental health arena. I didn't want to be regulated. I didn't want to deal with the burnout and the stress of it. I didn't want to be capped on my income potential. I wanted to work with people the way I see fit. And so in my life coaching, this is what we do is I start everyone out with a 3-hour, what I call a mini VIP day, and we can do a deep dive and get into where are they stuck? What's holding them back? And Emily, I can see you say more about what can we say with the coach hat on versus a licensed professional. Okay, that's clear. Thank you. Sometimes, when we're getting this feed, it's like it'd be different if we had a conversation, right? I totally get it. So Emily's asking, like, what can we say with the coach hat on? So really, what I hear your question is, how do we navigate that line of coaching versus therapy? So this is how I look at coaching: is it's not that I never acknowledge. Yes, thank you for sharing that. That's really good. So I understand that sometimes, right, when I'm reading it or you're typing it, it's clear in your head. So let me help you with this. I'm not saying that we never give a nod to or recognize patterns. By the way, I'm a cognitive behaviorist trained. I'm a trained cognitive behavioralist. I continue to still use that methodology in my practice, in my coaching business, right? How we think, how we feel is how we behave. So I'm a behaviorist and I love patterns. So I'm not saying that we never look at patterns. I'm not saying that we never look at history. Sorry, this light is wonky today. I'm not saying we never look at people's history, but we're not walking down the road of, what happened to you as a kid, or how we're not examining the history that way. In coaching, we're very much on what's your goal and what's the pathway to get there? What's in your way? What's your thinking in your way? So let me give you an example. If somebody's coming to me and they're saying, I remember when my mom did XYZ as a kid. I'm not, as a therapist, I might explore that. How does that ripple effect in your other areas in your relationships? I'm not looking at that. What I am looking at is how that thought came up for somebody, and that's an acknowledgement that has had some impact. Now, where is it that she wants to go, right? So let me give you another one. When I work with my clients building their businesses and we talk about increasing their rate, making more money, there's a lot of programming as children and as women in a society that says women only get paid 77 cents on the dollar, that we are only valued to, that's another conversation. There's a lot of stuff that comes up around money mindset, around success mindset. So those are the things I'm talking about with clients, and I'm not talking about things that we would label as psychopathology at all. Does that make sense? So, are you asking similar questions? Of course we're asking some similar questions. Jesus, we want to have some kind of idea. But it's like, okay, if somebody has some issue about related to, I was in a crappy relationship. I'm not digging around why you had that crappy relationship. I'm not digging around with, well, it's because of. We're like, okay, what are you using as a lesson from that crappy relationship? And let's focus on what it is that you want. See, in coaching, we focus on what it is that you want because that's what expands. When I am focused on my goals, I'm doing the work of that. So if my thoughts are, I want to have a successful coaching business, or I want to hit 150K in my coaching business, or that's the feeling that we want to get that excites us. That's the commitment. And from that place, my behavior is going to show that I'm going to be doing the work. And the result will be, I will have what I'm looking for. But in therapy, a lot of times we're focused on like, okay, my mom was a shitty mom. And it was a problem. Now, I'm being very general here. I know that some of you who are therapists are going to say, I focus on goals too. I get it. Okay. I'm broad stroking here. And this is part of the issue. Everybody wants everything in a neat little box. This is coaching. This is therapy. A lot of it is very clean. But the line is, we're working with human beings. And sometimes people cry. Sometimes people are upset. My job as a coach is to bring them back to the place of connecting with their goals. Does that make sense? I'm connecting with their goals. So I'm hopeful that was helpful. It's clear. If I'm clear about which side I've chosen, ethics shouldn't be a problem. Thank you, Leslie. I will code of ethics for social workers stick like glue. I don't have to throw them out as a coach. Bam. There you go. Okay, let's get you started building your business. Here we go. So can you see how, thank you for all the comments. Let me see if I can find out any more other areas here. Let me click over to this other group. So if you have any questions about any of that, please feel free to text me, email me. If you're not in our current free therapy group, your coaching group, you're welcome to ask anything that you want. And let's see, within licensed professional, there can be gray areas. So looking at to professional brings up, there's gray areas. Like Emily, we'll say that. There's going to be some gray areas. There's gray areas with everything. Let's be in reality here. There's gray areas with everything. I mean, if I call myself a, clinical social worker, like I'm a social worker. And under the NASW, that it talks about life skills. Like, hello, that's being in a social worker, but I could say that's also coaching. So it's not like there's no overlap. It's not like I am a heart surgeon and I am a dentist. Actually, there is overlap there, right? Because you're both putting somebody under maybe. So let's get you thinking more about what it is you want, how you want to serve people, and how to build a business that allows you to do that. Let's get back to the coaching concept here that I've been talking about and focus on what you want and not what are all the conceivable problems that you could create. So it's very clear if I know I am a life coach, these are the people that I'm working with, this is my niche. I work with people that are coming to me that are high functioning, that are not falling into the diagnostic criteria. Those are my guidelines. Those are very concrete lines for me. Is concrete hard enough? I don't know. Renelle says, can you give therapy versus coaching example working with couples? Well, first of all, you said that you do this with the same population of people. So I would, first of all, never suggest that. I'm not sure. Emily says there is a beauty in being whole versus segmenting out skills. Yes, it's very clear. So Emily, to that point, Renelle said that she works with the same population of people. Renelle, this is why this to me is a huge problem. A huge problem is when somebody comes to you, it's a problem on so many levels. So here's the ethical issues that I have. Now you make your own decision. This is where I have all kinds of ethical issues with this. When somebody comes to you, let's just say your coaching package, 90 days, $2,000. Let's just say that, right? You have a 90-day coaching program that you have designed. See, in coaching also, let's get to this. In coaching, we have packages. We're not selling 1 hour off. We're not 1 hour. Like, it's a commitment of time. That's part of the coaching model, is that people are investing in a solution that you can provide. I believe when people come in and they invest in, they're committing to 90 days or 6 months in a coaching relationship, which as coaching, we are co-creating this goal with them, holding them accountable, supporting them, giving them skills, etc. When they come in and they're making that commitment for whatever it is, a year, 6 months, it's like, this is my package. And I have a 90-day life coaching package. Personally, it's $5,000. Okay. So when she comes in, she knows she's committed. And at $5,000, let me tell you, friends, she's in it. That's why I have such huge success in my business, because people come in and they do the work. They do the work because they've highly invested. And the return on investment for my clients is like, they don't even think about that money. That's like several trips to Costco. Come on. Some of you who are like $5,000, that's like every time I go to Costco, it's $300. Okay. So we're talking about a couple trips to Costco to have a massive life transformation forever, changing the legacies of families. That's the kind of life coaching work I do, and the kind of mindset work I do with my clients around in their businesses. So here's where the huge dilemma comes when you're working with the same population of people in health and mental health and therapy or coaching. When somebody comes into, number one, coaching, the paradigm is we are working collaboratively for a time. That's the package. It's not this one-off per hour. So if you're telling me as a relationship coach, the best model is work with me for 90 days or 6 months and I can help you with your relationship. If that's what you believe, yet you're selling, this one-off therapy stuff, like, you're in conflict with what I believe is your core value system in marketing. This is one of the things I teach in the Foundations course. We start with, what are your core values? This is why none of my clients have a single issue around ethics when it comes to building your business. I start the very first thing with, what are your core values? Because see, then it makes marketing so easy. You want to know how it is to be an ease and flow with your marketing? You better know yourself and where you stand. Now, my number one core value is truth. That's why I'm so direct with you. So Renelle, I'm like, I'd run from that. That would terrify me if I was in doing, therapy and coaching in the same population. Here's another big dilemma. Not is it that if you believe the coaching model that you're in it for, they're committed, then how are you charging people? Like, I have a huge issue with this. So if Sally, Jane, and Bob come in and they can't quote and afford out of pocket the $2,000 or $3,000 for your 90-day coaching program, they can afford the $25 an hour for copay, and you're going to sign them on. How is that even fair to your coaching clients? Like, it's not a good method. Like, you need to make it, in my opinion, if you were my client, if you were my private client, this is the conversation. The conversation would be like, pick a lane. You need to pick a lane. Some of you want to stay in both things because you're terrified to go to coaching, because you're like, is coaching real? Can I make any money from it? Oh my God. Coaching's real. You can make a shit ton of money from it. Look, one of the things I teach you in my transition to coaching course, the Foundations course, is why building a coaching business can be easier for you than a private practice. See, some of you think that building a private practice is easy because it's passive marketing. You got your Psychology Today, you got your insurance panels, all of that. That's passive marketing. So there's some of that happens in the coaching industry. But when you're in your coaching industry, girl, you're the face of that business. And that's new. Because in therapy, as mental health or any kind of licensed practitioner, we are really taught to put the mask on, right? People don't know us. We don't really share, right? In my coaching business, I had to learn to rip that mask off and show up as Mary and stop hiding and take a chance that people are going to love me or hate me. But guess what? They've loved me or hate me my whole freaking life, and everyone judges anyhow. So let that shit go. Get over it. So back to Renelle, I'd be running from that. Pick a lane. Heather says the laws of each state are clearly defined for therapists. What not to do, for example, relationship coaching needs a license. Different states, exactly, Heather. Different states are different, exactly. Emily says there's a beauty in being whole and right and segmenting out. Like, be holistic in your practice here, in your coaching business. Look, I know some of you who are scared. I get it. You're nervous about it, but I can help you transition. I can help you or add an additional revenue stream. One of my clients, her private practice is all around people with, that have generalized anxiety, have significant anxiety disorder. And they're usually younger, right? They're in their late teens, early 20s. She has a whole separate coaching business all around coaching women with confidence who are 35 and above. Very different. Very different, but they also complement each other, because who do you think some of those moms are, right? Of the kids. So again, this is about complementary. This is about you designing. Stop focusing so much on the freak out. I'm not saying be unethical. What I'm saying is focus more on what you want to do with people, how you want to help them. If you want to know more, I want to invite you to take the Transition to Coaching, the Foundations course. It's the link is marybicknell.com/foundations. In that course, you are going to have all of these answers. You're going to be able to actually have, agreements. I'm giving you agreements. Now, you check with your attorney, but here's the outline of these agreements. I give you a couple different coaching agreements. Excuse me. And how to run a session, how to run a coaching session from beginning to end, how to design I give you the done for you 90-day program that you could tweak for yourself for your coaching population. Right there, how much is your time worth to you, right? It's $1,500. It's the best money you're going to spend, because how long would it take you to figure out how to go to an attorney and have them write up a contract? How long would it take you to figure out how to actually market? And I teach you relationship marketing. So in this course, this is the beginner stuff. It's not where we're going to talk about Facebook ads and build a program, which, by the way, passive income comes only after you've learned how to actually sell to your coaching people. Relationship, all of it, go listen to the videos of the women who have taken it, or read some of the testimonials. Life changing. It's a business plan. I walk you through how to plan for things, how to have systems in your business. Do you know how to enroll a client into your business without being all salesy and freak out? And how to really know whether they're a good fit for you? This is something that I'm teaching you in here. You also will get all the stuff about your taxes. Right? What kind of taxes? This is the thing. And you get come into our private membership for a whole year. You can ask me any question about the content within that course as it relates to your own coaching business. I personally go in there and will answer your questions about your business. Why? Because this is my impact on the world. So come join us for a year. It starts today. Today you get your very first lesson. You can download everything today. I want to encourage you to do that. You owe it to yourself to at least check it out. Prove it to yourself. Prove it to yourself. Do the work. If it doesn't work, get your money back. I know you're going to have massive transformations. I do know that. That's why I guarantee it. So go there, check it out, marybicknell.com/foundations, and look at how you can go through the money mindset, how you can learn how to do marketing in a way that doesn't feel sleazy and is truly with your core values, how to have all these done for you so that you don't have to think so hard. What am I going to do? How am I going to build a program? What am I going to say? What are coaching questions? Do you even know coaching questions? I give you 50 of the best coaching questions, and I bet you're going to see, oh my God, I might already do a little bit of coaching. Everyone who's attracted to the coaching industry, what I have found is you're pretty much loving it, right? Leslie says it's hard to live in two worlds. Exactly. So I want to encourage you to check that course out. And if you are already at a level where you want more than that, and you're like, look, Mary, I want to be all in. I want to invite you to reach out to me and talk to me about the 150K Bold Biz Mastermind. I just work with a couple of women, a couple small group of women who are ready to go, who are ready to take it to the next level. And you have to qualify for this. The foundations course, everyone needs that. Like, you just jump right into that. But if you're ready for the next level, or maybe you're already in private practice and you want to know how to build that additional revenue stream, you already have some of your systems set up, like, we can create an additional revenue stream. For those of you who are just like really in the transition mode, the foundation course is the best place for you to start, and I will put the link. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me, and enjoy the day. Talk to you later.